Let's be honest. There's someone on your mind right now, someone who makes your stomach tighten a little when they walk by. You replay conversations in your head, hoping you didn't sound weird. And sometimes, no matter what you do, they just don't see you. But here's the secret nobody tells you. Attraction isn't about being noticed. It's about being felt. You can't force someone to look at you, but you can make it impossible for them to forget you. And no, that doesn't mean changing who you are. It means understanding the psychology of human magnetism, how small behaviors can flip emotional switches in someone's brain without manipulation, without pretending, and without chasing. Because attraction starts way before they realize it. It starts in their subconscious, in how they feel around you. Most people try too hard. They talk more. They text faster. They overthink every word. But the truth? The harder you try to be liked, the less magnetic you become. Why? Because you're sending the wrong signal. The human brain reads energy, not effort. When you're desperate to impress, you trigger stress, not desire. But when you move with calm curiosity, when you act like someone who already deserves attention, their brain starts asking, who is this person? That's the first psychological hook, the uncertainty trigger. Humans are wired to pay attention to things that don't fit the pattern. Most people chase. You don't. That creates confusion. And confusion creates curiosity. Curiosity is the seed of attraction, and you just planted it. Now, before we go deeper, understand this. Attraction is built, not found, and it follows patterns. Patterns so predictable that psychologists have mapped them. If you know how to use them, you can create emotional gravity. It's not mind games, it's emotional intelligence, applied. And once you know what triggers the human brain to feel connection, comfort, or excitement, you can stop guessing and start guiding. So in this video, you're going to learn 10 psychology tricks to attract someone you like that actually work. Not surface-level eye contact and smile tricks. Real emotional patterns that tap into the deep, instinctive part of the brain where attraction actually lives. And here's the twist. These same principles work beyond romance, in friendships, careers, even first impressions. Because attraction isn't just about love, it's about attention. And attention is the most valuable currency in the world right now. But before we jump into the first trick, I need you to remember one rule. Don't chase, trigger. Every trick you're about to hear works best when it comes from a place of calm confidence. When you believe you don't need to be chosen, the other person starts wondering why. That's how attraction flips. From you wanting them to them wanting to understand you. And that shift, that's where all the power is. Because once someone's brain starts associating you with emotion, curiosity, joy, tension, relief, it stops being logic. It becomes instinct. You don't need to be the most attractive person in the room. You just need to be the most felt. And the first step to being felt is to learn how to control what their brain feels around you. So let's start. Here are the first 2 psychological triggers that quietly make people fall for you, not through words, but through emotion. Let's start with something simple, but powerful. The first real moment of attraction doesn't happen when someone sees you. It happens when their brain recognizes you as emotionally different. Think about it. Most people look the same, talk the same, text the same things. But the few who stand out are the ones who make you feel something you didn't expect. And that's what these next 3 tricks are about. How to spark that feeling on purpose. 1. The curiosity trigger. Humans chase what they can't completely predict. When someone feels they've already figured you out, the story ends. But when you give them just enough to wonder, the story begins. And their mind keeps turning the pages. You can do this with small behavior shifts. When they ask what you've been doing, don't unload your day like a diary. Say something like, "It's been an interesting day. Remind me to tell you later. You'll laugh." That's it. Short, controlled, slightly mysterious. You've just opened a psychological loop, and the brain hates unfinished loops. They'll think about that line later without realizing it. They'll picture what you might have meant. That's not manipulation. That's curiosity. And curiosity is the first spark of attraction. The mind can't stop chasing what it doesn't fully understand. And now, you are the puzzle. 2, the Ben Franklin effect. Most people think you win someone over by doing things for them. Wrong. You win them over by letting them do something for you. Here's the psychology behind it. When someone helps you, even with something tiny, their brain rewires a belief. It goes, if I helped this person, I must like them. That's how the mind justifies effort, by creating emotion. So ask small favors, borrow a pen, ask for an opinion. Let them explain something they know. You're not showing weakness, you're showing trust. And trust makes people feel needed, which makes them feel connected. Just remember, small is key. You're not asking for help moving a couch. You're giving their ego a gentle pat. And that's addictive. Most people try to prove their worth. The magnetic ones let others prove it to them. 3, the eye contact equation. Now we're moving into nonverbal psychology, the kind that speaks louder than any line. When you hold eye contact just 1 second longer than normal, something strange happens in the brain. It registers as intimacy. The same neural circuits that light up during emotional connection, they flicker on. Here's how to do it right. Don't stare. That's dominance. Don't avoid. That's insecurity. Instead, hold their gaze, then break it slowly, like you're thinking about something private. That single second creates a pulse, a tiny emotional spike that says, I see you, and I'm not afraid to let you see me. What you're doing here is tapping into limbic resonance, the subconscious syncing of emotions through gaze. It's primal, it's silent, and it's unforgettable. Most people look away too soon. You won't. You'll stay in the moment just long enough to make them feel it. They won't remember what you said, but they'll remember the moment their chest tightened for no reason. Here's what these first 3 tricks do together. They plant emotional seeds. Curiosity makes them think about you. Ben Franklin creates investment. Eye contact builds subconscious tension. And those 3 ingredients, curiosity, investment, tension, are the holy trinity of early attraction. But we're just getting started. Because in the next part, we'll move past first impressions and into something far more powerful. How to make someone feel safe and seen, while still keeping mystery alive. And that's where attraction stops being chemistry and starts becoming connection. They might forget your face, but they'll never forget the feeling of being understood. Attraction starts with curiosity, but connection starts with safety. Once someone feels emotionally safe with you, their guard drops. That's when their true self appears, and that's when real attraction begins. Because no one falls for perfect people. They fall for people who make them feel comfortable, seen, and understood. And the next 3 psychology tricks will help you do exactly that. 4, the emotional mirror. Here's something powerful most people miss. Humans don't fall for people who are just attractive. They fall for people who reflect their emotional rhythm. This is called mirroring, but not the robotic kind you see in body language books. It's emotional mirroring, matching vibe, not behavior. If they talk fast, you slightly increase your pace. If they pause before speaking, you do too. If they lean in while talking about something meaningful, mirror that lean just a moment later. You're teaching their subconscious. We feel the same. We move the same. We understand each other. And the human brain loves familiarity. It's how we decide who belongs in our circle and who doesn't. The more you align with their emotional wavelength, the faster their brain labels you as safe. People aren't attracted to you because you're different. They're attracted because you feel familiar in a world that doesn't. 5, the shared secret effect. There's a strange truth about human bonding. We connect fastest through privacy. When you share something small, not heavy or sad, just slightly personal, The brain releases oxytocin, the same chemical that bonds mothers to infants. It's the biology of trust. You can use this to create micro-intimacy. Share a small story, a hidden opinion, or a harmless inside joke between just the two of you. Something like, "Don't tell anyone, but I actually hate this restaurant. I just came for the dessert." That's humor, honesty, and secrecy in one line. Now you've created a bubble, a shared world inside a noisy one. Once you have that, you're no longer just someone they talk to. You're someone they feel connected to. And that changes everything. The moment someone feels like they share a world with you, they start to imagine a future with you, even unconsciously. 6. Vulnerability plus strength, the dual magnet. Here's where most people get attraction completely wrong. They think confidence means acting like nothing affects you, but invincibility doesn't attract people. Relatability does. The most magnetic people balance two energies, calm strength plus human vulnerability. You show them you're stable, you have your own life, your own direction, but you also let them see small pieces of the real you, like saying, "Honestly, I was terrified the first time I tried that," or "I used to be awful at this, but I've been working on it." That combination hits the emotional jackpot. Why? Because the brain's empathy system only activates when it detects human imperfection. That's how people connect, through shared humanity, not perfection. When you show controlled vulnerability, you send one clear subconscious message. I trust you enough to be real. And that makes people feel emotionally chosen. That's addictive. Perfect people are admired. Real people are remembered. Together, these three tricks, mirroring, shared secrets, and vulnerable strength, form the foundation of emotional attraction. At this stage, it's not about sparks anymore. It's about resonance, that quiet, invisible frequency between two people who just get each other. And when you create that, attraction stops being about effort. It becomes effortless. But in the next part, we're going deeper. You'll learn the final 4 psychological triggers that create something even stronger than connection, long-term obsession. Because once someone's brain links your presence to positive emotion, they'll crave it again and again. The goal isn't to make them like you once, it's to make them miss you when you're gone. By now, you understand that attraction isn't just about looks or charm. It's about how someone's brain responds to you. And once you've built safety and connection, the next step is creating something the human brain can't resist: emotional contrast. We don't fall for people who make us feel one thing. We fall for the ones who make us feel everything. Let's talk about the final 4 psychology tricks that do exactly that. 7. The scarcity trigger. The fastest way to lose attraction. Be available all the time. Our brains value what feels limited. It's called the scarcity principle. When someone's always reachable, the brain stops chasing. But when access feels slightly rare, the reward system lights up. So don't reply instantly. Don't cancel your plans to meet them. Let space build anticipation. Your distance isn't rejection, it's magnetism. People are addicted to the things they have to earn. When you're selective with your time, you signal quiet confidence. I'm not avoiding you, I'm just not waiting for you. And that message is powerful. When you stop chasing, you stop being an option and start becoming a mystery. 8. The almost touch effect. Touch is primal. It releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. But the anticipation of touch, that's even more powerful. Psychologists call this the approach tension, the invisible pull that happens right before contact. A subtle brush of your hand, a moment where distance closes and then pauses. That half second before touch sends a small shot of adrenaline through the brain. You don't need to initiate it often. You just need to create moments where it could happen. That's what builds tension. The key is subtlety. The less it happens, the more it means when it does. And when someone's brain starts to associate your presence with that tension, they'll start craving it. Attraction isn't built in the moment you touch. It's built in the moment, right before. 9. The emotional contrast technique. If you're always calm, you become predictable. If you're always energetic, you become exhausting. But if you can shift between both, you become unforgettable. Humans crave emotional rhythm. Moments of laughter followed by quiet curiosity. Playfulness followed by pause. This creates emotional contrast, and the brain loves contrast. Think of it like a song. It needs highs and lows to stay interesting. You can create this by switching tone, pace, or emotion. If they're joking, play along. Then, when the timing feels right, drop something real. For example, you know what's funny? People think attraction is instant, but it's actually built in moments like this when the conversation just feels easy. That's contrast in action. They'll remember how they felt. Calm, safe, curious, all in one moment. Predictable is comfortable. Unpredictable is addictive. 10. The name anchor effect. This is subtle, but it works every time. When you use someone's name naturally in conversation, it activates the brain's reward center. It makes them feel recognized, valued, and singled out. But here's where most people ruin it. They overdo it. The key is placement. Use their name when you say something emotionally charged. You know what, Sarah? That's actually something I'd expect you to say. Honestly, Alex, that made me laugh harder than I thought it would. Each time their brain connects your voice plus their name plus emotion, it becomes an anchor, a small but powerful cue that links you to positive feeling. Do this enough, and their subconscious will light up whenever they hear you say it. They won't realize it's happening, but their brain will. Now, here's the beautiful part. All 10 of these tricks work because they're rooted in psychology, not manipulation. They make the other person feel emotion, not confusion. And emotion is the birthplace of connection. When you combine them, curiosity, subtle distance, shared secrets, emotional rhythm, you're creating a pattern that the brain doesn't want to break. You become the moment that lingers, the thought that returns, the calm and the chaos, wrapped into one person. Attraction isn't about being everything they want. It's about being the one thing they can't explain. So, now you know the 10 tricks. But here's something deeper most people miss. You can't fake chemistry, but you can create the space for it to happen. You can't force someone to like you, but you can make them feel something real. And that's what attraction actually is. Emotion, triggered by presence. When someone's around you and they feel curiosity, safety, tension, excitement, and comfort, their brain doesn't label it as psychology. It labels it as chemistry. That's the illusion. You're not manipulating. You're communicating on the subconscious level where attraction truly lives. Think about it. Most people chase attention, but attention is short. You don't want someone's attention. You want their emotional memory. Because when you trigger emotion, you live rent-free in their mind. It's not the conversation they remember. It's how they felt during it. The warmth, the curiosity, the calm tension when your eyes met for just one extra second, the laughter that came too easily, all those small moments, they add up. And eventually, that person starts associating you with a feeling, and when that happens, you've won something far more powerful than attraction. You've built connection. Let's recap the 10 psychological triggers, but this time, not as tactics, as a flow. You start with curiosity, plant the mystery. Then you invite investment. Let them do small things for you. Then comes eye contact, emotional presence. You match their energy, mirror their rhythm. Then you build trust, create private moments and shared secrets. Next, show vulnerability, realness that softens them. Pull back with scarcity, give them space to feel the gap, add tension, the almost touch, the unsaid words, shift emotions, that contrast keeps them hooked, and finally, anchor emotion to their name, personalize the bond. Each layer triggers a different part of their psychology, curiosity, comfort, desire, reward. Together they form a loop the brain doesn't want to close. That's why some people stay in your head long after they're gone. They're not perfect. They just activated the right emotional codes. You don't need to chase butterflies. You just need to plant the garden where they land. But here's the final truth. If you use these tricks to get someone, you'll eventually lose them. If you use them to connect, you'll never need to chase again. Because attraction built on truth lasts. It's calm, steady, effortless. It's not fire that burns you out. It's warmth that stays. You don't need to be the funniest, the prettiest, or the most confident. You just need to understand human emotion and play that instrument honestly. So next time you're around someone you like, don't overthink every move. Don't script every text. Just focus on energy, emotion, and empathy. Make them feel seen. Make them feel safe. Make them feel slightly curious. And you'll become unforgettable. Because attraction isn't built in what you do. It's built in what you make them feel when you're not even there. They might forget your face, your words, your jokes, but they'll never forget how you made their heart speed up for no reason. This is Hey Dreamers. Stay real, stay aware, and remember, it's not about tricking anyone. It's about mastering the one thing everyone's secretly craving: emotional connection.